back for the Women in Digital section, which for my money is probably the most important section of today. So thanks for joining us for this hour. We've got a panel now on the idea of balance, work-life balance. So with that, I will hand over to the panel leader, Sarah Beaumont. Round of applause for Sarah as she makes her way to the stage, please.
Thanks, Toby. Hi, guys, come on over. Try and get on the stools without falling off.
I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Can you hear us all okay? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Women in Digital track. We're really pleased to do something a bit different this year. And the first panel we're going to do is about balance, as Toby said, and specifically work-life balance. Finding positive or healthy work-life balance is something that is or will affect probably most of us in our career at some point in time. So it's something that we thought was important to discuss. And we're going to explore a little bit about what the challenges are with that, what we find hinders getting a balance for ourselves in the workplace, and what we need to do as individuals and as businesses to help improve that for everybody. So I'm Sarah Beaumont, as Toby said. I'm Business Director at Edit. I've been working for more years than I'm going to admit, I think, today. But I've been a working mum for 7 years now, so I've experienced the challenges that go with that. I've got a child of 7 and one of 22 months. I'm going to ask each of our panellists just to introduce themselves as well and a little bit about their family and work situation. And then we're going to start looking at the balance challenges we face and what we think we're going to do about that. We're going to try and leave 5 minutes towards the end for some questions if we can manage it, so please bear with us.
So hello, can you all hear me? Yes, the mic's working. Oh, not good. So I'm Jill Quick, and I run a company called the Colouring In Department. So I work for myself, I run my own business, and I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. Some slight challenges with my eldest. He's autistic, ADHD, deep dyslexia, so there are moments where trying to work and be a mum and manage that as well has been quite a challenge over the last 7 years, but I'm happy to share some insights over this talk on that.
Yep. So as you can see, I'm a man. So I'm Arnold Hellemans. I live in Amsterdam. I'm married. My wife is the one having a really heavy job. And I'm a freelance, so I freelance on doing SEO, PPC stuff, mostly in the UK, so I travel a lot. Got 3 kids, the eldest one is 11, then I've got a almost 10-year-old and an almost 8-year-old. Yeah, and I think I want to share some insights, and I think where it's not just the woman, it's a team. At least when you're together, it needs to be a team. So I'm going to share some of my thoughts and how we went through the process, especially the first 5-6 years when the 3 kids are within 4 years. So that was quite, well, some people would call it heavy. I've forgotten about it. We survived. So yeah, that's what I'm going to share.
Hi, my name's Katherine Shuttleworth. I run a business called Savvy. I employ about 75 people in Leeds and London. I am also a mum to 3 children who are now 17, 15 and 13. I set Savvy up when my youngest child was 3 weeks old and I had 3 children under 3. I also have a dog, a new puppy, only 1 guinea pig because Boris died on Friday. Take that as any signal you like. My other guinea pig's called Nigel. True story. And I'm really proud of the fact that I work. I have no hobbies. I do nothing outside of work and my family, and I will share the misery of my life with you today.
Sorry about that, Katherine. I'm very sorry to hear about the guinea pig.
Well, yes, it's very sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. And I suppose the first thing I'd like to ask each of you is, what does balance mean to you? Because I think the important thing that we've talked about already and what I hear from a lot of people is that work-life balance is different for everybody and that changes over time. Jill, what are your thoughts on that?
So I always try and think of life as like a triangle. There's like 3 points, and this isn't just because like I like triangles and like to, if you give me a Sharpie pen, I'll put one on your arm as well. I think you've got yourself, however you'd like to do the self-care thing. You've got your family, which can just be a partner or children or not, and then you've got work. And considering that a triangle is meant to be the strongest structure known to man, something is always going to be out of sync. So it's almost like I've got a table at a pub where it's always a bit wonky and I'm trying to prop it up with a beer, probably a beer thing because I like my gin. And it's just always off. And I'm trying my best to work, but if I'm doing a load of work, I don't want to take time away from the kids, which means I burn out. And then if I take time for me, then I feel like I'm not being a good mum. And don't get me wrong, like I try and have like a bath for like half an hour, and my kid will come in and be like, I need a poo, and you're like, no, like I'm trying to relax. And it's really hard. And we were just talking about this with Katherine. You can work, I have to work, like it's not a luxury. I've got childcare, but it's bloody difficult and it's always out of sync. So balance is me just admitting that it's shit sometimes and trying to do things to make it a little bit more manageable. But I think there needs to be this Instagram filter removed from it to make it a bit more realistic for people in terms of what they're dealing with.
And what's the biggest issue in terms of the things people don't share, the stuff that we maybe don't hear about that affects people in terms of achieving balance?
Oh, I just think, like, for me, it's been admitting that not everything's okay. Like, I've been pretty good for the last couple of years. And then last year, I started getting anxiety, which I've never had. And a friend's like, oh, do a meditation app. And I thought it was a load of wank. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. Next it'll be kale and whatever. And I found it's actually working. But even just sitting down with my husband and going, do you know what? I'm not feeling that great at the moment mentally. I don't think I'm coping and I need some help. And just that's been the biggest challenge, is just admitting it and talking about it, and then seeking some help when you need it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And with the bloke side of things, like, I think it's harder. Like, you can't admit it, you know, it's like...
I think we can.
Not everybody. So.
I can only speak for myself. I think for me, work-life balance is just having fun. That's it. I want to do stuff that gives me energy. And that means fully focusing on it. Like, I think for me, the biggest one was when I fired my first client that was draining my energy. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I started doing the fun stuff and the stuff I'd like to do, but also be fully into it. So basically switch off your phone or other stuff. Just focus purely on that. And when you're with the kids, just put away the phone and just go and do stuff with them. And I think just having that, some people call it mindfulness, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that was my biggest, that is it in work life. And I fully agree that sharing your difficulties with my wife, and I'm in a lucky position that my wife asked me, like, I don't think you're feeling that great. And as us opening the discussion, and then I can share stuff. And I try to do the same with her. It's more difficult. But I guess talking about that just helps me unload a lot of stress. So I think just talking to each other, if you have a partner, or friends, like literally share, I wouldn't say misery, but just the thing that is...
Misery loves company.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But I think that is what work-life balance is about, because then you can find a solution, at least for me. It's just about having fun. Enjoy. It's not going to last forever. I mean, my parents are getting older. We get the first death in the families and stuff. And you just go it's a waste of time if you're not having fun. So might as well just enjoy it.
I think that's an important point in terms of trying to choose, almost pick your battles, choose the things you're going to focus in. But what about where people maybe don't have that choice? They're working because they have to work, they're in a job that they don't have as much control over. So how do we find that balance in those situations?
I think you're right.
That's a great point.
And there's a couple of things I'd say about work-life balance. I see it from a number of different angles. So there's my own work-life balance, which is broadly terrible, and a lot of that is of my own choosing. And my own making, because I've been working for a long time. So, and I love work, I love my family. I was not keen on the guinea pig, but you know, So that's not been a big deal for me. But some of those are my choice. But I'm also looking at this through the eyes of an employer, because I employ lots of people. And there is a really big shift change in people coming through into work about what they demand in work-life balance, and they are being more demanding of their employers, and to an extent rightly so. And that is not just about having children. Sometimes this debate is just about being a working mum. Do you know what? I went to college. I went to a poly in the days there were polys. For those of you who don't know what they are, you need to look it up on the internet. But and I met my husband there by fluke. At no point has there been any equality in our relationship until the 29th of June 2002 at 5 o'clock in the morning, when I gave birth to our first child, and I realised there is a difference between mothers and the rest of the world. It's just a biological fact. You actually can't change it. But, you know, life is relatively equal these days, and most of you looking into the audience are coming into a workforce at a great time for equality and a great time for flexible working and balance. So I absolutely agree. You've got to choose the things that you want to do, but there will be stages in your life where you'll feel a bit trapped, and you will feel like you can't perhaps get out of a job or move, because your responsibilities will be quite significant. I always really admire single parents more than anybody else, because they take all of the pressures that come from work and from home life. I think that's an amazing thing to do, or people have caring responsibilities perhaps for older parents. So what I would say is absolutely have fun wherever you can, but sometimes accept there will be phases in your life that will be tough in your working life. And having an open dialogue with your employer is very important. And if you have an employer who won't listen to you or won't make reasonable adjustments to support you through difficult, challenging times, yeah, you should look somewhere else. We're looking in Leeds. This is a city of full employment. Digital skills are absolutely critical, and they're critical to the success of the future of the city and of the region. So there will be opportunity for you to do that, but think really carefully about what you want and about how you want your life to be balanced. People would look at my life, my children look at my life, my daughters look at my life, and I don't think they would want the life that I've got. But on the outside, people will say, Katherine, you're hugely successful, you've got a successful business, you've got 3 lovely children, you live in a nice house, whatever people's deciding factors are about success, but it's a very personal thing about balance. And my balance is out of control. So this week has been out of control. Next week might be a little bit better. But overall, I like my life. So I've made that decision that my life's okay. If it wasn't, I'd have to do something to change it. But what I would say to you is, not everybody's as lucky as me and has that choice. At the moment, I've got a bit of choice, not much. As it turns out, when you set up your own business, you're the only person who can't resign. I've subsequently found out. There's a top tip for you. So I agree about having fun, but I also think you've got to think about it. But this is not just about having kids. It's about every stage in your life, make sure you've got balance, because the most balanced employees you've got are the best and the most effective. And the way that work is changing is giving us more balance than we ever had before, so embrace that. Because when I started work, there was no balance like this. And I don't want to kind of go back and tell you what it was like. I had a team briefing this morning at 8 o'clock, and I was telling them about when shops didn't open on Sundays, and half of the room looked at me horrified. But the point is, there's been massive improvements and massive movements, and at the moment I read a lot of stuff on social sites like LinkedIn about how terrible it is. Trust me, working life is better than it's ever been. It needs to improve, but it's loads better than it used to be.
We talked about this earlier, didn't we? That I think we've all found that the ability to work flexibly now is so much more available. But I think we've fallen out of some disciplines that we probably would have had pre-social media and all these fantastic apps and tools. And actually some of that means that we're our own worst enemy, because we don't protect our time, or we don't protect the things that are important. So I think, you know, for you, what are your kind of tools or learnings that you found that help you to achieve the balance that you've set as your standard and maintain that reality?
Can I just go back to a point actually that you said?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that we are getting better at flexibility, but I train a lot of companies, and although it is getting better, there are some businesses out there that they want to do the digital transformation piece. They want to be amazing, and you're all coming here to learn stuff. And they want to focus on the customer and be amazing, yet they do not put the same effort or consideration into the teams that are meant to be doing this. So although it's not necessarily as bad as it was, I mean, I've had some horrible experience like a decade ago, but I've worked with a lot of businesses where like even asking to get access to emails on your phone is rejected. And if you want to go to the doctor's appointment, you have to take holiday. And it's like, yeah, like, and you can say try and leave, and I've said that to some people that I've mentored. If it's really crap, then you've got an option. You stay and accept it, or you move on. And I think a lot of the flexible options of where it's good for me is because I had a crap experience. So my response was to go off and set myself up as a consultant. And not everybody's in a position to do that. If you haven't got the funds to stop and take that risk because you've got mortgages to pay and kids to feed, you don't always have that luxury. So I feel myself very considerate and lucky that I had a partner that was able to cover my lack of earning for 3 months whilst I went off to do my own thing. And it just seems a shame that it's normally on women because they've had the kids and they can't get flexible working. So you get a massive chunk of talent that is just abandoned in the workplace, all because the company wouldn't consider like shifting hours, like the same hours, but shifting the hours a little bit later or earlier or whatever. And he said it's not just a mum thing. I've got friends that have passed away from cancer and they've had a ball ache just trying to get people moving around. People that have got elderly parents, we've got people that suffer from anxiety and they just can't get into work. And you just think this is just being more humanist about it. So like,
yeah,
I don't necessarily have tools, but I'm trying to be better and have more empathy about what's going on around me, and challenge other people, call out other businesses that are doing it really well and have that conversation in the workplace to say, I'm not opening the floodgates. It's like, this is something we have to do if we're going to thrive in the future. Otherwise, we're all going to burn out.
And that's a really good point. And we talked a little bit earlier on about the filter of life that we put out there and being more honest. Is that something you think is important, that we all need to own and be
like
more upfront about how hard it is?
Whole like, oh, hustle hard, I got up at 4 this morning and read 7 blogs, and like, I'm like, no, you didn't, come on. Like, and if you are, you have no other commitments to your life. There's, yeah, like, it's hard.
I sometimes, when I talk about this, I always say to people, I don't run. And they say, what do you mean you don't run? I meet lots of people, particularly men actually in businesses, to be fair still, who tell me about their running and how much they bloody run. And they get up every morning at 7 o'clock and off they run, and then they run back and they say to me, I'll tell you a true story, I went out for dinner with my bank manager who is considerably younger than me, and he told me at length about what a great runner he was. Great, that's fantastic that he's got that time, and he tells me about how that makes him more effective at work, and that may be true, you know. So, but the point is, I don't run, physically run. I run mentally all day long because that's the things that I'd like to do. And one day I might run, and one day I might be able to walk my new dog. One day, but at the moment I can't do that. But there's this kind of like this lie about, well, my life's perfect, my relationship's perfect, everything's fantastic. Let me tell you, if you want to work and bring up children as a partnership, whatever that partnership is, you won't like each other very much of the time. You won't like your children a lot of the time. Life is not a fairy tale. It's a series of incidents that you have to get through, and work. It's true. It's true. It's a series of incidents. And work kind of helps you do that. So. And I'll tell you what, I'll share with you my week to kind of give you an example. So my husband left the house at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. I think he's coming home tonight at 10. He's somewhere near Henley. It's always scary when you tell these personal stories. There'll be somebody who knows him and then tells him I've told this story. He is coming home tonight at 10, and he spent the day yesterday at a leadership development programme where he's met some world-class rower, and they've focused all day long on leadership. So he rang me at 11:30 last night to say he'd been to a very nice restaurant for dinner and that they'd had a great day. I'll tell you what my day was like. I woke up in a Premier Inn in Hemel Hempstead yesterday morning. I had breakfast. I was forced to eat breakfast by the nice man at the Premier Inn. I went to take a briefing from one of our major clients. I left there at 11. I got in a taxi to Milton Keynes. I got on a train to Manchester, and I did a massive pitch, one of the biggest pitches I've done in 2 or 3 years. I got back in a car onto the M62, which was blocked, and I went to a meeting at school where I'm a school governor because I feel as though I should be giving something back into to the community in which I live. I got home at 9 o'clock to be met by my 2 teenage daughters who just finished physically fighting with each other. With one of them in tears saying she lost her Latin book, and the other one saying nobody cares about me and my mocks, and a son ringing saying, Mum, can you book me an Uber? I'm at cricket. My card wouldn't work in my Uber account. Anyway, that's sort of the day. And then my husband rang at 11:30 to tell me what a great day he'd had. It's very hard to like that person. I still love him, but I didn't like him very much last night. And the point is, that is what balance is really like. That's the real life. But it's very easy for somebody like me to not share that and to turn up today to say, I've got quite a successful business and I let people come to work at 10 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, if they want to go to yoga, I even bring somebody in to do yoga in the office. Whatever. I listen to them. I need to be able to tell my people it's okay to not be okay. It's okay for your life to be a bit of a tram smash, but I haven't missed any of those deadlines this week that my clients expected. I managed them this week. And I'm really lucky because I'm the boss, so people sort of help me more. You know, I had an account exec yesterday who gave me 70 quid to pay for my taxi because she clearly didn't trust me to have any money in my purse, which was true. But it's okay, but you have to call that out and you have to say, are you okay to your work, to your co-workers? Is it all right? And accept that you pick up the slack sometimes. So I've completely forgotten the question is now. But the point being, seek balance if what you do. You know, I would be highly critical of the way I have used my work life. You know, I've kind of stopped going out in the evenings with people. I don't have much of a social life. I have a great social life at the weekends. But that's okay because my kids are okay. So my balance is if they're okay, the rest of the world's okay. So just be honest about it. And you know, quite often I meet these very successful women actually who are chief execs of huge businesses. What they don't tell you is their husbands have never worked or their partners have never worked. So don't think that everybody's faking it. You know, don't think people around you are doing a great job. They're not.
So two great takeaways there. One is it's okay not to be okay and assume that everybody is.
They're all making it up as they go along.
I'm going to wrap you guys up because we're running really close to time now, but I just want to give you guys a minute each just to, in terms of a takeaway for people to think about or a top tip. You know, Anna, what would your kind of top thing be in terms of getting that balance or trying to get close to it?
I think the biggest thing in getting the balance is making decisions and stick with them. So if you say, I don't want to work for bad clients, then fire them. If you say, so in my opinion, we decided to have kids. So since we decided, then that's the thing I'm going to stick with. And that's the thing I'm going to do loads of it. And in that process, I think the biggest tip is that if you're with a partner, in this case my wife, we need to talk about stuff, like literally talk, and don't assume stuff, and be clear on who's going to do what, because otherwise it just stresses you out, and you start living this life, and then it all goes sour. So really, people talk to each other and just ask those questions. If you're in doubt whether somebody's feeling well, or you look a bit stressed, and think, I'm not stressed. Well, damn you are. And then, but that will slowly come back. The first irritation is there, and then they will open up. They will talk about it. And then you might be able to help. Maybe the help is just listening to what the other's problems are. And that, to me, is the biggest key to a proper work-life balance.
Thanks, Anna. Jill, anything else to add?
I've probably got 3 resources for you all to go away and have a look at. One, you need a community. So there's something called Ada's List, ADA after Ada Lovelace. And that is a women-only network. You go and apply. And I found that being really good to have a group of people, have your tribe. Second one is have a look at what other people are doing in the workplace. There's a company called Push Mind and Body run by Kate Murden. She's got clients like Sainsbury's and ITV, and they're doing mindfulness. So take those case studies and speak to your boss. It's not just a new thing. And the third one, nice plug to Kirsty at the back of the room, confidence is a big thing on this as well. And confidence isn't just about, can I stand up on a stage and talk? It can be confidence to talk to somebody in the team or talk to your boss about something that fills you with dread. So seek out people that provide these services. You can read their content, you can go to their workshops, and that will help as you try and navigate this whole balance thing.
Thank you so much, Jill. I think I would add to that, from my own experience and my own tip would be find your reality, find what's true for you, find what your values and your drivers are, and then stick to those things, and that's your measure, your temperature check at any one time when things get a little bit out of balance. Thank you so much to everybody on the panel. Thank you for listening. We'll all be around afterwards if you have got any questions. And that's it from us. Thank you very much.